There's a lot of conversation going on right now about the problems going on with the internet nowadays, from age verification to biometric data being necessary to access certain sites, being pretty much something in our near future that's going to end up occurring, to all the shit going on with collective shouts and payment processors. The internet right now kind of fucking sucks. I'm not gonna lie. And today I could talk about all of that, but I don't really want to because I have a much simpler thing I want to say. And this is going to be a relatively short video because there's not really much to say. I'm not going to stretch this into like a 30-40 minute discussion because it doesn't need to be. I just want to say this because I don't really see people saying it as bluntly as I want to say it. So I'm just going to swing here. I don't really care. A lot of the laws and such being put into effect are being told to us that, oh, the only reason we're doing this is to protect children online. But A, we have already seen that the internet is finding ways around that. And B, the thing that I really want to focus in on for this little topic and discussion real quick, it is not on governments and it is not on people or politicians, I should say, to be able to, protect you on the internet. It should be up to the parents. And that's kind of the point I want to focus on. If you don't want your kid to be accessing certain things at the age that they are, if they're very young or something, I totally understand and I respect that. But don't come in here and try to tell the rest of the internet that they should have to follow the same pretenses. You, as a parent, should be doing what you have to do to protect your kid, not everyone else's, yours. And if you don't regulate your kids' screen time, if all you do is put an iPad in front of them, if you don't give them some sort of barriers or safeguards or something, and you don't enforce them when they break them, because again, kids will do that shit, you are just a shitty parent. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but you're really kind of not understanding what it is. And I speak personally from experience, because when I was growing up, there were a lot of safeguards put onto my computer time when I was growing up. There were times that were limited for video games. There were times that were limited to our usage of the internet. There were sites that were not allowed to be went on, and there were precautions put into place to ensure that I could not, or anyone in my family, unless they were of age, to access that side of the internet. And I'll tell you right now, as much as I don't have the greatest relationship with my family, I am so appreciative that they did that. Because if I had seen some of the things I saw as an adult online, I probably would be scarred for fucking life. Like, if I went on Reddit 50/50 for fucking example at the age of like 7, I know that probably wasn't a subreddit at the time, but like if I had unrestricted access to the internet and I saw that shit that sometimes can be on there, holy crap, I fucking scream. It's fucking horrible. Now I'm not saying that like for the sense of like just horrible stuff. What I am saying more is that I don't think it should be up to people to make up for the fact that some people just have kids, and then when they end up coming out, they don't do parenting. They just don't. And that irks me to no end. I sadly know people who have been in this sort of style, and it fucking disgusts the crap out of me really a lot. And I know people online who I've seen just allow unfiltered, unrestricted access. And unfortunately, there are some horrible people out there that do go undercover on some of these sites and don't really, do anything. My family was very protective of fucking Club Penguin, for God's sake. Sometimes a little overbearing, sure, but, I didn't get abducted by a fucking pedophile. I didn't go and jump into any stranger's van. I was safe. I was secure. My family made sure that I shouldn't talk to people who were strangers online. I mean, nowadays, I fucking have met most of my friends online, but that's a whole different scenario of sorts. My point that I want to make today if you are going to sit here and you are going to allow the government or, you know, organizations or groups of people or collections of people who may have similar ideals to you and they're going to define what everyone is doing, you are pushing your ideals onto everybody. Nobody wants that shit. And stop trying to neuter the internet. If you want to protect your kid, don't let them go on the internet without some kind of either supervision or provision put the fuck in. Because if you're allowing your kid to do that, you are just not a good parent. I am sorry if that offends you. I really don't fucking care. Because you shouldn't be fucking doing that. I don't really know how else to say it, and I don't know why more people don't go and say that shit, because it's kind of the truth. And I know I said some words that probably YouTubers don't say, but also I don't really give a crap, because to the extent of, and I'm not talking like, oh, we should be allowed to say any bad thing we want online. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But like, if people aren't able to talk about like events in history, or they're not able to talk about news, about what's anything's going on, or they're not allowed to say the words like pedophilia or rape or anything, what the fuck? Like how are people supposed to learn and educate themselves on how to prevent such horrible crimes or horrible things just from happening? You know, if you have to tiptoe and be safe around everybody, instead of sort of creating this sort of section where kids can be safe, sure. Like, you know, you've got your Webkinz and your Club Penguin. I'm very old, if you can't tell. I'm 27. You know, if you're not separating that part, I mean, that isn't what the hell's the whole point of YouTube Kids if we're going to do this. You know, I know the world is changing. I'm not someone who's resistant to change, who doesn't think that technology can't be a benefit for the developing youth. But if you're not regulating that shit, you are the problem as the parent. It's not the school system. It's not the this. It's not the that. It is you are allowing this to happen to your kids because of your choices. I know plenty of people who are very strict on their kids with what they do online. And I respect the fucking shit out of them. And again, my family was super strict with the sites that we were allowed to go on. We were allowed to like go on Nickelodeon and Disney Channel as kids. Like that was fucking it. It was not anything more. Because if we went on to like Club Penguin or Webkinz, we had the potential to like run into someone that possibly would hack into our computer or steal our, again, it was a very extreme, but like you get the point. My family was very selective until I got older, and at a certain point they again had some safeguards, but you know, they were looser with that because I was becoming an adult. I was able to make my own decisions, understand these sorts of problems, and you know, recognize the signs if someone was trying to rip me off or steal me away or do something horrible to me, you know? And that's what people need to teach their kids. I'm not saying like your 4-year-old needs to be taught every single horrible thing in the world. You've got to build it as they grow up. You've got to expose them and say, like, I would say to if I had a child, I would say to my child, you know, you shouldn't be going on like chat room sites because you know, you don't want to talk to strangers because there could be bad people on there. You don't go and look at them and say, oh, someone's going to kidnap you and possibly kill you. Like, no. Like, what the fuck? That would be horrible. So you've got to tailor your messaging to your kid. You can't just throw them in the fucking deep end, but you can't let them just go freely online and just let content creators raise them, you know? We used to call it raised by the TV when I was a kid, parents who did that. And I know kids that are my age that were raised by television. It fucked them up. You know? They lack some things. They don't understand certain cues or empathy, or they end up in shitty situations. Obviously I'm not going to say who or what or anything, but like you get the point. I am all for protecting people, but you have to make sure that you are taking care of the people around you, not caring about the world to its entirety. You know, that's why we vote people in who are going to create laws and enforce said laws and hold people accountable. At least that's the point of why we do these things. They know the election system and the whole. I could go on to a much larger tangent, but It is up to the parent to, make things safe for their kids. It's not on anyone else. You're the one who laid down in bed, opened up your legs, or, if you are unable to have kids, you adopted, or you got a fucking surrogate parent or whatever. You get the point. You were the one who chose to become a parent. It is up to you to shape that world around your child and give them the tools necessary to not allow them to get screwed over. And that's how it should be. And again, I don't really care if I offended someone by saying that, but if you're allowing it, you're the fuck up here, not the government. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching my little rant. I have a much larger video I'm working on talking about why I personally believe that certain games with sensitive topics should be still allowed on storefronts and why these restrictions and such are shitty. So if you want to stay up to date on that, you can go subscribe to my main channel, or if you just like the stuff here, you can always subscribe as well. I post kind of regularly, sometimes not regularly. This week, I just happen to have two things I really wanted to talk about. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and hope you have a good day. All right, catch you later.